R2, we're back, of course, talking some Square Enix. We have the end of the year interviews / messages from 4Gamer. They do this every single year with like 100 and something Japanese developers. We're obviously here for the Square Enix side of stuff. We've been looking at these every single year since I think 2018. So these are always kind of exciting. The standout things that I've seen from this are, of course, we have Hamaguchi talking about Remake Part 3, possibly teasing some info next year. And then we have Yasuke Saito very heavily teasing something for the next Nier game. But we'll probably kind of look through all the Square Enix ones really quickly. Speaking of Saito, let's hop right into it. 2025 will be a milestone year as it marks the 15th anniversary of the Nier series, so I'd like to do something for it. What should we do? Maybe something with the next game or developments related to that. I've been hearing the fans' expectations. It's a bit tricky though. That said, as I'll likely be doing less director work as a producer, I'd appreciate it if you could patiently look forward to what's coming. Yeah, Saito sure teases talking about the next Nier game in 2025, right? Whether that's, the game itself, we're talking about development for the game, something along those lines. It's the 15th anniversary for the series. It's pretty cool, I'm definitely looking forward to that. I'm a newer Nier fan, as I talk about in the videos. I've only played Nier Automata, a little bit of Drakengard way back in the day, whichever one that might have been, I don't know. But I'm very much looking forward to the next game for sure. I also know that Saito and Asano had a game they were making that wasn't related to the Nier series that I think was supposed to be shown off this year, and that obviously did not happen. That might be something we see next year as well, so it seems like it might be kind of a busy year for Saito. Hiroshi Takai, who of course was the director for Final Fantasy XVI, says, "Somehow in 2024 I was fully occupied with work on Final Fantasy XVI, but in 2025 I'll be working on something different. While I can't share any specific details yet, I'll continue to work hard in 2025. I'm sure this work will lead to something that 4Gamer readers will enjoy." It seems like Creative Studio 3 is going to be working on something in the next year. I don't know if it's something we'll see in 2025, right? But I've seen people speculate, the next numbered entry for the Final Fantasy series, which I'm not totally against that. I like Yoshi P. I like Final Fantasy 16. I don't know that I need them to do the next numbered entry. It'd probably be good, but, I wouldn't mind them, passing the reins to somebody else. We've talked about Hamaguchi potentially. Obviously, he's still working on the remake project, but it would be kind of nice to let him, helm the next numbered entry. I just kind of see what he can do with that. But besides that, we've heard a lot of rumors for a long time about, Yoshi P's studio working on the 9 remake and or the Tactics remaster, right? So any one of those could be a potential thing we see next year from Creative Studio 3. I've done a few videos about Yoshi P and Creative Studio 3 working on those games, right? Because he's talked about there needing to be another Tactics game at some point, so I could see him wanting to be behind making that. And also him, publicly multiple times, I believe, denying that his studio is working on the 9 remake, so it's a little weird, so maybe it's something we see. So here we have a message from Tekashi Takita, somebody I'm not really familiar with. Known for Live and Live, Final Fantasy IV, the Hanjuku Hero series, and Onashi no Game series. We're currently hard at work on a new title under the new structure of the Reborn Square Enix. It may be a while before we're able to tell you all about it, but we'd appreciate your continued support in 2025. It says he's working on a new project under the Reborn Square Enix. I'm not entirely sure if he means after Square Enix canceled a bunch of games, if he's working on something new, right? The $100 million worth of games, whatever the fuck that shit was. Or I know they kind of change everything around, right? Because there's Creative Business Unit 1, 2, and 3, and they changed that shit into Creative Studio 1, 2, and 3, right? I'm not sure if he's talking about that or the canceled games, whatever he's working on. I don't even have any fucking idea what that'd be. Maybe you guys could tell me. Tomoya Asano, known for Bravely Default series, Octopath Traveler series, Dragon Quest III HD2D Remake. This year, 2025, we should be putting out the various things we've been preparing. Please look forward to what's coming. I know Asano has a credit for the Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD2D Remake, so that's definitely something that's coming out next year. But he does say various things they've been working on, they've been preparing. So I don't know what else he could be working on. Is there more from the Bravely Default series coming out? Is there more from Octopath Traveler? I will say, though, Asano and Saito both have credits for the Dragon Quest series in different ways, right? Saito specifically worked on Dragon Quest 11, right? So I don't know if maybe they're working on Dragon Quest 12. We know the game's in development. We have a little bit of a slight teaser thing for it. I don't know when the last time we had anything major for the game, but maybe that's something we see in 2025 as well. I don't know if they're working on it, though. Akitoshi Kawazu, known for the Saga series. In 2024, we released the 2 titles, Saga Emerald Beyond and Romancing Saga 2 Revenge of the Seven. Both have demos available, so be sure to give them a try. We're also making progress on preparations for the next title, so please look forward to it. So I'm assuming he's talking about another Saga game. If they're making preparations for the next title, that means that we probably wouldn't see that next year, I guess. I don't know. It's a franchise I've never played. I remember the advertisement in the original FF7's booklet. In the back of the booklet, there's a Saga Frontier ad or something like that. There's one for Saga Frontier, and I believe in Final Fantasy Tactics, right? It's a series I've always been aware of. I've just never actually dove into it. Let me know if I should play the Saga games at some point. Which ones should I hop into first? And last but certainly not least, we have Naoki Hamaguchi. And interestingly enough, his is the only one out of all the Square Enix guys who says latest update as opposed to the ambitions for 2025. But it says, the development team, myself included, is putting all of our efforts into the 3rd installment of the Final Fantasy VII Remake series. Development is progressing well, but please bear with us a little longer before new information is announced. This is something we've been kind of hearing for a while now. When they talk about Part 3 a lot, they say, give us a bit longer, give us a little bit longer before we reveal some information. So I definitely think we're getting something in 2025. If there was no plans to talk about the 3rd game more or show the 3rd game in some way, next year, I don't think they'd be saying, you know, wait a little bit longer, right? Because I don't know about you, but I certainly wouldn't consider 2026 or later a little bit longer. So I definitely fully expect there to be something next year for Part 3, even if it's just simply a teaser trailer, like a minute and a half long teaser trailer, kind of like what we got for Rebirth back in summer 2022, right? I think that's definitely going to happen. Marketing in 2026, release in 2027. Plus, I believe we're told around the first anniversary of Ever Crisis by Motomu Toriyama that, like, next year, around the second anniversary for Ever Crisis, roughly about September of next year, that we'd most likely be seeing stuff for the next game, you know, the third remake game. So, like, we've been kind of told this anyways by, you know, somebody who's pretty prominent at Square Enix that we'd probably be seeing something next year. So that's exciting. I'm really looking forward to that. Like, it'd be nice to, like, not have to wait like 2 years before we actually start getting to like the marketing and stuff like we did with you know, Rebirth, right? It took a little while. I feel like they've been pretty consistent anyways, like post Rebirth, talking about the next game. Like, I feel like we have updates all the time. We're always doing like a Part 3 related video every like week or two roughly, right? There's always like something, some sort of interview, Hamaguchi, Kitase, somebody like kind of mentioning aspects of Part 3 and things like that, right? Which I appreciate. I appreciate that they're at least talking about it, because we got like pretty much fucking radio silence. Obviously, that a DLC and a PS5 version of Remake come out like a year later, but like in terms of like talking about Rebirth, we didn't get shit. Like, really, up until summer 2022, right? So it definitely feels like after the second game of the trilogy, they're like kind of righting the wrongs in some ways, if that makes any sense, where they're actually like a lot more open to talking about development, talking about what's going on, how far they are. We're working on this aspect of the Highwind. We're talking about the Highwind like not too long after the game came out, right? Like, they were telling us like, hey, we're at this part, we're figuring this out with the Highwind, and it's like, fuck yeah, dude, more of this. Like, talk about the fucking game. Let us know what's going on. That's all I want personally, right? I know some people want like trailers and shit. They want to like see the game, and I get that too. I'm there with you, but like realistically, they wouldn't have like that much to show right now, right? But like, just talk about it. Just let us know what's going on. Where are you at right now? Where are you at roughly? What are you working on right now behind the scenes for the game? Because we know what's supposed to be in the game based on the original FF7, right? So it's like, we know what you're working on, even if you're not telling us. We know you're going to be working on the weapon fights and this, that, and the other, right? And North Crater shit and Save for Sephiroth. We know these things are coming eventually. But like, at least tell us like, you know, kind of where you're at in development. So hopefully we get like some really good updates going into the next year at some point. There's also a smaller update that's not directly related to Square Enix, but it's Koei Tecmo teasing their new game from their new studio that I think is just called AAA Studio. They obviously have a bit of a working history of Square Enix with Dissidia NT, which I do enjoy. It's not as good as the previous Dissidia games, but I still play it occasionally. And then obviously Stranger Paradise, Final Fantasy Origins. So I'm like 99% certain it's not related to Square Enix, but I figured I'd throw it out there, right? Because you just never know. And I think specifically it was Team Ninja that did Dissidia NT and Stranger Paradise, but still, you know, who knows? I'd be down for them to make another kind of weird ass like Stranger Paradise kind of Final Fantasy game. I'm down for more Final Fantasy, of course, and then obviously I'm down for more Dissidia. It's a franchise I absolutely love. I'd be down for them to do another Dissidia. I love the idea of all these characters from all these different games crossing over, like teaming up and fighting with each other and fighting against each other and shit. There's obviously been some newer like Final Fantasy projects that have come out since Dissidia NT, right? Like with Stranger Paradise, which obviously they've worked on, so a little crossover there from Dissidia NT and Stranger Paradise. It'd be kind of nice to have Jack in there. See Final Fantasy 16. You have like Clive would be in the game, obviously, and probably Ultima. And I don't know if you do any other characters or not. Also had the release of 2 of the Remake Trilogy games since Dissidia NT came out, right? And you could kind of update like the FF7 character roster, like move pool, like Cloud and Tifa and Sephiroth and stuff. And I don't know if they put any more in there. And I just want to see more from Dissidia, essentially. That's what I'm trying to get at here. Give me more Dissidia, even if it's not Koei Tecmo. Who is surprisingly my best character in Dissidia NT? Vaughn from Final Fantasy XII. I don't know why. I don't even know if he's like good. I don't know. He's just like the one I did best with for some reason. I think Titus was a close second. Obviously, I used Cloud and Sephiroth and Tifa off and on too, but for whatever reason, like Vaughn was one of my best character. Pretty much the video, my dudes. Of course, biggest takeaways from this are, you know, a little bit of tease of something for Remake Part 3 next year, and most likely getting something for the next Nier game, which is very exciting. We do have the Rebirth material Ultimania out now. I have seen like, you know, several translations and stuff here and there on social media. I've yet to see anything that's that interesting, which is why I haven't talked about it yet. But obviously something interesting comes from this book. We'll talk about it at some point. Anyways, that's the video. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. System works in the description below. Follow me on Twitter, @YT. That's it.
Used to care what people thought, but now I care more, and nobody out here's got it figured out. So therefore, I've lost all hope of a happy ending, depending on whether or not it's worth it. So insecure, no one's perfect. We spend it with no shame. We blow that like Coltrane. We in here like Low Gain or leave it like Cobain.